You guys are.
We are.
Okay. Okay.
We're stupid, is what we are. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Pigeon Whole Motorcycle Podcast. And I hope we get our name right the second time when I try to do it. So we have Sofi Tsingos. Is that right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Nailed it.
Now see if
Perfect.
see if I pronounce this right. GT Moto.
Yes, that's close. Yeah.
Oh, okay, good. I think this is going to be very interesting. Sofi and I both actually have a PhD in sarcasm, and I think this is going to be a very interesting evening here tonight.
This is gonna be fun.
So I sent Sofi a message and say that I was going to be a little bit late, that I had to do my hair and my makeup and my lashes, and she responded with, "What is that?" So you're not the girly girl? You're not a girly girl?
I'm capable of it, but it's rare. I wore a dress for my wedding over a year ago. Was the last time I wore a dress.
Bonus points for you. Okay. So
Yeah.
anybody listening to this podcast that can't see you, can you tell them about the nice dinner that you're enjoying there?
Oh, my Cool Whip.
Yes.
Cool Whip.
That's Texas Cool Whip, right?
Yeah. Extra creamy.
Yes. She's actually eating Cool Whip. Not even just she's eating it out of the container, and she can't say anything right now because her mouth is full. Just spooning it in. So.
Sorry, I'll stop.
No, you're perfectly fine. It's casual Thursday, so we're set.
I wore my best outfit for you. I'm in my PJs.
Yes. What does your shirt say?
It's faster. You ever remember that documentary?
No. I have not seen that.
It's a classic.
Really? Okay.
It's just as good as Long Way Round.
Okay, that I've seen. So where do I go? Faster? Is that an old movie? I sound like an idiot right now to all these motorcycle people, don't I? Faster. Netflix?
No. it is old. The no, no, you sound like a kid. No. It doesn't have a date on my shirt, so I don't know when it came out.
Is the
came
movie
out a while ago, though?
Is the movie older than
it was in
you?
high school.
Okay, high school.
No, it has Valentino Rossi in it and a bunch of the badass road racers.
Nice. Okay, so
You need to watch it.
I will. I'll watch it tonight. Because let me check my watch and see what I have to do for the next month. Yeah, I'm free. Good. So, why don't we tell everybody? So, anybody that's out there listening that doesn't know you, Sofi, why don't you give us a little introduction on you have a lot of followers on Instagram. You have a lot of people. I know that you have a bike at the Haas Museum, and your website's just full of kick-ass bikes. So, how did you get into this whole motorcycle scene?
Aw. Well, thank you for all those kind compliments. I'm actually losing 100 followers every month. So
Really?
I don't know if it's going to be a lot for that long. Yeah, I don't know. I guess they changed the analytics or something. Yeah, I do have a bike in the Haas Museum. I think the first female to have one in there. All the bikes on our website, they are all customer bikes. And I build them with my dad, and I've been in the industry my entire life. So it's kind of hard to pick a specific starting point. Because my dad duct taped me to the tank of his old BMW motorcycle when I was still in diapers, and that was my introduction, I guess.
And if anybody from
he would have gone to prison these days.
DCFS presents Duct Tape Bike with Sofi. That's a very cool, disturbing story at the same time. I think it's great. Yep. So here's you and your
I think it's cute.
I think it's cute.
Sorry, yeah.
Hey, and just the whole duct tape thing makes you a professional builder of sorts too, a customizer.
Yeah, totally.
Okay,
yeah,
so
all you need is a duct tape and a big hammer, right?
I'm telling you, I don't have those things, so I'm out. But Okay, so tell me this. So you and your dad building together. I understand the Haas Museum bike is kind of a cool story between you and your father. Bobby told a little bit of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's so how that happened. I have a lot of goals that I set for myself, and I'm pretty impatient because I want to get to those goals. I don't want to, just sit on a project and wait forever, regardless of what it is. But one of my favorite builders of all times, Max Hazen. That was one of the ones that I listened to your podcast. It was one of the first ones I heard.
Yeah.
I guess he was looking for one more builder to build him a bike, like someone new. And Max gave him my name, and I don't know why. I don't know how. It's just, that to me was the biggest compliment of my life. The fact that my favorite builder that I look up to nominated me to build a bike for a museum. So that was a goal I never even thought of in my head, and that happened, and I could die happy now.
Wow. That is really cool.
Yeah.
So did you know Max before then?
Yeah, I met him the first time at the Handbuilt show, where you pretty much meet everybody at the Handbuilt show. I saw one of his bikes there, and I was like, oh, whoa, what is this? And I realized it was the same builder that had Iron and Air had him in one of his bikes on the cover. And that's one of the magazines that my dad and I were in. So, of course, I have like 5 of those with Max's beautiful face on it. And I was like, who's that? And that's a beautiful bike. So, of course, once I met him, I realized, oh, yeah, that's the hot guy that builds bikes. And then my dad and I just started talking to him, and he was the nicest guy ever. He was so sweet. So, and he was, humble and proud, and started, talking about his bike. And ever since then, we always say hi to each other if we run into each other at shows.
That's awesome. So he passed your name along to. So how was your first conversation with Bobby? Because I'm thinking that when Max gives your name out, you got a lot to live up to at that point.
Oh God, yeah, I almost shit myself. And I haven't. It's funny because I live close to the Haas Museum. I think I'm one of the only builders that can just drive down there any day I want and take a stroll. But I never had the chance to actually make it up there because I've just been so busy. And so I get an email from him and Stacy introducing himself, and I was just like, holy shit. So I pooped myself a little bit, and then I squealed, and then I ran and told my dad, and of course I responded immediately. And he set up a time to come drive out to the house instead of flying all over the world like he does. He just had to drive to our place and said that he wanted to build something, or have us build him something, and kind of just do whatever we wanted. And I was like, well, I have an idea. If you would like to see what's on our lift right now in our garage, it's a bike that I started like a year ago, and it's less than halfway done, but it's just something that it's been a design in my brain for a long time, and I just haven't had the time to do it because I'm typically working on other customers' bikes and in like 4 at a time. So it just kind of took a back seat, and it was really expensive to make because the type of materials we did and used, and we literally made every single thing by hand except for the tires, rims, and the engine. Wow. But obviously we rebuilt out all of that. So we went out there, and he saw it, and he gave me all the warm and fuzzies because he could see where I was going with it. Because then it was just the frame. And it is a single-sided hardtail. it has a lot of like weird, I don't know how I made it work, but it works. My dad my dad's in aviation, so he's really good at making stuff happen. If I have a really stupid idea that I just have to do, he figures out how we can make it happen, and it typically it works.
Wow.
So that it was so much fun. I
Oh my
loved
God.
it.
So yeah, you
But
talk about. I can imagine like what your feelings that you're having, like how you must have felt standing there next to those guys explaining what you want to do and actually have them believe in it and really want it too. That's super, super cool.
yeah, yeah, and they were amazing. And Stacy was so sweet. She was like, I love that it's a female that's building this, and what are you gonna name it? And I was like, well, my friend named it Medusa because the rear end looks all kind of Medusa-y. And she's like, oh, it's a female name. And so it kind of just all came together. Kind of like meant to be.
That's great. The only
um
down point is if you look at your bike, you turn to stone.
yeah, that's why I wear nerd glasses. Special powers.
That's cool. Okay, so did that um now did that bike was that bike in any publications? Did that one get out there that people could see before it went to the museum?
No, nobody could see it until after. And then he's the one who posted it and announced it once it was finished. And then that year at Handbuilt, that was one of the few bikes that he brought to Handbuilt, and we had before they opened, it was very crazy and surreal to me that um, we had like a private talk,
Mm-hmm.
or I don't know what it's called, where
Right.
they ask you questions and then you answer them in front of a bunch of people. And I got to be part of that too. So I'm sitting up there with all my other favorite builders like Brian Fuller, Hazen. No, Hazen wasn't there. I wish he was there. Walt. I have such an old man crush on Walt. He was there. Craig was there. I yelled at him because the first time I met him, and I was like, I have a bone to pick with you.
Oh
He's like, oh,
no.
great, get in line. That was really funny.
Wow. Okay, so little do you probably know, but when you guys did that, I videotaped it and had the microphones up there when you were Alan and Bobby and
Oh,
Walt and
really?
you and yeah. So it's funny to hear you describe it because a very intimate, very cool, and to hear the way Bobby talks about you guys, it's just so cool just to see everybody lined up and talk about
Oh
them.
my God. I thought I was going to cry. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It was so sweet. I wish I realized that you were there.
I make a great impression.
I'm an asshole.
No, I thought you were going to refer to me as the hot podcast guy. I was. I'm usually just referred to as like Craig's plus one.
Yeah, totally. You're a little stud muffin podcast dude.
Yeah, and I think the
No,
only.
I blacked out.
I bet.
I blacked out when I was there because I had to talk, and me talking in front of people, it just stage right.
Right. I have a video of that too if you want it. I don't even think anybody has it.
Yeah, I do. I'd love it. My Ross took a video of it, but for some reason it didn't turn out very well. So it was hard to hear.
The audio was very, very strange there, yes. It's hard. I
Yeah.
think it's just because it's such an open building and the speakers behind, and I think they did their best, but it just didn't. It was kind of hard.
Yeah, it was kind of awkward.
And I'm an audio dork, total dork. So when I hear stuff, it drives me crazy. But what can you do? Um,
Good.
so now,
It's a good
have you been
it's
to
a
any?
good way to be dorky.
I know I'm a total. I like it that way. Were you at any other hand belts before that, or was that your first time?
I've been to every single one of them, including this first one. I never went to the one where it was the one show, but as soon as it turned into hand built, had a bike in every single year.
What? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Holy
Yeah.
shit. That's pretty awesome. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And we've never
I
met each
doubt that
other.
Oh, I know. It's weird. There's a lot of people that it's so many people.
I know.
I
Well, I get
usually go there, drink, and hug the few people I do know, and then I disappear after I look at the bikes.
yes, we kind of do the same. I was going to ask if you drank or not because I was always at the bar and you guys were running around talking. Maybe could be.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely do drink. Yeah.
So
Especially now.
yeah. So I was going through your Instagram looking at a bunch of the bikes, and I do want to make a side note too that when you were talking about the bike that you made for Haas, it was cool on your website that you could click on the photo there and you had I understood what you were talking about because you had the kind of progression pictures of how the bike was going, which
Yeah.
is awesome to lay it out like that so you can actually, even for you, it must be cool to look back and be like, wow, yeah, that's how we did stuff.
Yeah, it's surprising. I really don't look back at them that much. It gives me anxiety. Like all of the feelings I had and the material that I wasted. I just don't want to think about it.
So, are you working on your own bike now, or are you working on customer bikes now?
I actually am not doing either. I am working full time at a local hot rod dealership. I'm one of the fabricators, and I think, yeah, right now we have 2 cars that we're working on right now that's supposed to be in SEMA this year, but we don't know how that's going to work. Like right now I'm working on a Metropolitan Nash that has an LS3 in it, and I'm doing the body work and sheet metal work on it right now, so it's a lot of fun.
Wow.
Yeah, it's so different from bikes, but I feel like it's so weird. I feel like I'm learning more working on cars than I did with bikes, and I don't know why. I think maybe it's just because I'm just so used to working on motorcycles. Everything I've learned my whole life, it's been, slowly these last 30 years, but now I'm just like kind of thrown in there and doing this badass stuff every day, and I literally catch myself smiling while I'm working. I love it so much.
You can't beat that.
And yeah, and a lot of guys there ride motorcycles, and there is one bike that I'm slowly kind of working on, but I'm not really talking about it right now. I kind of just want to get it done and then present it, because I think I stress myself out too much when I talk about it and like do progress photos, and then I get a bunch of emails saying, have you done anything to it yet? Is it finished yet? Is it gonna be at this show? Or I'll get people inviting me to the show to bring it in. I already have an autoimmune disease that was caused by stress. I don't want to have a flare up because been in remission for a while.
Wow.
So this is the first time I've actually talking about it. So whenever it's done, you'll see it. Whenever that happens. Don't know when.
Now, do you have plans, because you've been at every hand built, do you have plans to be there in November?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. If I'm in town, then I'm definitely going, even if I don't have a bike to put in the show. That's the one year I get to see all my friends and, hang out, and I don't know. It's my favorite time. Typically it falls on my birthday weekend. So, that's another reason why I go, is just so I can go play on my birthday in Austin for that weekend.
Yeah, it was really sad. A that I missed your birthday this year. But B, seeing something pop up on my phone that I was supposed to be there, like, 3-4 weeks ago.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, I know.
oh, you're headed to Austin today. I'm like, oh shit. But I got my plane tickets. I got my plane tickets for November, so
Oh, good.
yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. And of course, I have to go visit the museum if we're going to be in Texas too. So,
And then give me a call, and then we can go drink.
Yes.
Get our nails done.
I know.
Go get some eyelashes.
Do you know what? I'm hoping that at least we can go to, beauty salon, because if those are closed, are they open now in Texas? Can you go get your hair done now?
Dude, I don't know.
Oh, you don't know.
No idea.
You are
I get my
such
hair done like once a year.
such a girly girl.
I
Okay,
know.
I have to
I
tell you about
know.
another post I saw that you did, and I absolutely loved it. Now, how long have you been married?
1 year as of May 4th.
Okay, so I think you posted something about your anniversary. However, I think it was like everybody says the first year is so hard, and there's all these problems, and you said it was the best
Yeah.
year of your life.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. Is. Still is.
Yeah, but that's cool. Now, does he do motorcycles, cars? Is he around that industry?
He is okay. So I like to have a rule. I don't like to shit where I eat. So it's always been hard to date somebody that I have a lot of stuff in common and that isn't in the industry. And that, I mean, obviously never worked out until I was swiping on Tinder one day and I see this beautiful guy that looks like a douche, but he ends up being like the nicest guy ever. He's holding a motorcycle engine, and there's a beautiful 1970s Corvette. It's a C3 Corvette in the background. I was like, "Ooh, what's your name is?" So we finally meet, and no, he rides motorcycles. He can work on them, but he's not in the industry. He is a mechanical engineer for Peterbilt. So he actually does a lot of the concept designs, and now the group he's in, he does a lot of the designs for electric trucks.
Really?
So
Cool.
he's really smart. He's a nerd.
Wow. Wow, a good-looking nerd that you found on. Isn't it funny how you would never, no one would ever say, "Oh, I'm going to meet my husband on Tinder," or "I'm going to meet my husband on this," and then it turns out great.
6 years later, still never had an argument.
Really, he must
Yeah.
be a really nice guy, or you don't
Yeah,
spend
if he
enough time
tolerates
together.
me. Oh, yeah, we do. Thank God. Well, I mean, we both travel a lot. So the other thing I do is I am the vice president for motorcycle missions.
Tell me
And
about that. I know nothing about that.
I don't know if you've heard of motorcycle missions, but what it is, it's a nonprofit that my friend Crystal Hess started years ago. And what we do is we go around the country and we teach veterans and first responders how to build custom motorcycles. She also has another side to it of it's a motocross camp where we teach vets and first responders how to ride dirt bikes. So that's a lot of fun. But that kept us crazy busy. So the first year of marriage was the busiest, and maybe that's why it was so great because we were both traveling so much, and so Crystal and I would we would cuddle up and spoon, and then I would build a bike with her, and then I would come home and spoon my husband, and
It's a lot of spooning going on.
I know I'm a big spoon.
Life is good. I'm more
It
of a
is, yes,
I'm
it's
more
the
of a
best.
sporker. Uh, Sorry, can we say that on
Oh
here?
my
I'm
god.
sorry, that was bad. Um, okay, so when you
It's
did the
good.
when you did the motorcycle mission, where did you go? When you say travel, where do you go?
Oh god, we went all over. So we would have to drive. We would fly everywhere, but half the time we were driving across the country. And I remember the first time we got in a car together. It was the most we went. I drove to Austin, picked her up, and then we drove to California. And that was the longest time I've ever spent time with a female ever in one sitting. I've
Right.
never been around another female for that long without, and she definitely hasn't either. And she said, she's never even been in a car with someone that long that she didn't want to throw out on the highway. And it just ended up being a lot of fun, and it worked out. And now we're just travel buddies. And we did a bike in Temecula, California. Um, there was one in Cleveland we did last year. So, and each one of these takes about 4 or 5 months to do. because whoever's hosting it, whether it's a dealership or, a collector or somebody with a shop who has the mechanics and the capability to actually have all these tools to be able to do this. For example, there's one in Phoenix and did it at a Harley dealership, and every once a week, like on a Thursday after they shut down, all the vets and first responders will meet there, and they spend 3 hours each week working and learning and learning how to do something different. And it's just a really incredible thing to do and to be part of, and the fact that she lets me like go with her and like meet these people and teach. It's just
right.
Doesn't pay anything, but it's totally worth it.
Yeah. Okay. So how long do you guys stay there? Like when you go, do you get them started with the project? I don't know, what kind of period of time?
So it really just depends. The first time we're always there in person. They'll kind of lay out their roles because we're pretty strict when it comes to that. And explain what's going on, kind of give them somewhat of a syllabus and let them know what they're going to be doing, what they're going to be learning, and who they need to be talking to whenever, because we can't be there for every single one. Right. We will fly out or drive somewhere and be there for maybe 5 to 10 days. So we'll try to typically get a couple days within that time, but most of the time we're kind of just running errands and getting parts and doing stuff for whoever's hosting it. If there's a lot of people who are hosting it that are volunteering and keeping everything good, we don't really have to go out there very much. We kind of just let them handle it. Sometimes they want to do something that they don't have somebody who is capable to do it, then her and I will fly out there and do a couple of sessions with all of these people, and that's my favorite. If I could be out there all the time, I would, but I have to make money.
That's great. And I know that you look at things like that and you're like, oh, it doesn't pay anything, but I bet you it's rewarding in more ways than we could even imagine.
It's like a vacation once a month for me, going out, hanging in with people, being around motorcycles and stuff.
So how long have you been doing the new gig? At the
hot rod shop?
Yeah, the hot rod shop.
I think I started, I remember when I started. I started in August. Wow. My first day I was crying nonstop, because Crystal and I were in California and we were supposed to visit Jessie, and she ended up having to do some test runs in her car, and that's when we lost her.
Wow. So
I don't think I'll ever forget my first day at work, and it was tough because it's like I'm around all these hot rods and all this stuff that that's what she did, and I was excited to be able to do something that she did for a living and get paid for it, and it was just she was amazing.
Very sad. Very, very sad. And what a great, on the other end of that, every time anybody mentions her name, I just see the way she was even just like at Handbuilt, and the way she lit up a room, and everyone was just inspired by her, and just, I don't care, man, woman, anybody, is just like, she's a great human being.
Yeah, like she knows what the fuck she's doing. And sorry, I don't know if I'm allowed to cuss on here.
We don't have any fucking swearing on here. There'll be no swearing at all. We make the rules. Her. Remember that.
Good. Yes.
Well, that's
no. She was amazing. She's everywhere. I can't. Even at night, I still have a hard time. Just like, she'll just come up in my mind all of a sudden, and then I'll just start crying, and I can't go back to sleep, and I have like a panic attack. But she was kind of like a sister to me. I looked up to her, obviously. Whenever we would talk and hang out, we would just talk about really stupid, silly stuff. It wasn't about work. It wasn't about cars or bikes or anything. Like, we like there's a normal human being side to her. And I love hearing everybody say, she's so inspiring and, always in the car motorcycle industry. But I had the pleasure of actually seeing the human side of her, I guess. I don't really know how else to put that.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, that was devastating. I was actually thinking about her on the way home today.
Um, do you know what's funny that this shows you how much of an idiot I am in the motorcycle world? So I'm at Handbuilt. We're coming outside of the builders party the first night on that Thursday or whatever at the Congress. And Craig's over talking to this girl, and I'm like, wow, she's a good looking woman. Like, holy cow. So Craig's like, hey Dave, this is Jesse. Hey. So we all sat up there and talked. And we're walking away, and I think Stuhlberg was there, and we walked away. I'm like, wow, that Jesse girl's really cool. The guy goes, wait, who are you just talking to? And I'm like, I don't know, some blonde girl, Jesse. And they're like, that's fucking Jesse Combs. Do you have no idea who you were talking to? And I'm like, no, they were just, they're just talking. They were just nice people. I don't know. They were just, and it was just funny to see like the starstruck of, I forget who I was talking with. But I'm like,
yeah.
Oh. So I made
That's when I met her, was Handbuilt years ago. And I was in the bathroom. I remember I had to pee so bad. And I ran to the bathroom and I saw this cute little blonde thing blur next to me washing her hands. And I sat down, I was like, fuck, was that Jesse? God damn it. So I like pushed really hard to get the pee out of me. Yes, I did wash her by hands. And then I ran outside and I'm looking around and I turned to my right and she's still right there, her and Teresa and her business partner and like best friend. And I was like, hi, I love your gloves. That was the first thing that came out. She was like, what? I was like, thank you for making gloves that fit my hands. And I was like, I have midget hands. She starts busting out laughing and she's like, who are you? She started asking me a lot of questions. And I was like, why are we talking about me?
Right.
And then she introduced me to Teresa, and I love Teresa so much. You can hear her laugh from the other side of the planet. If you haven't met her, you will.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Wow. So that's so obviously doing all this stuff, Jesse was a big inspiration to you.
I've kind of been doing it. I don't know. It's kind of make me sound like an asshole, but I've kind of been doing all this stuff before I knew about her. Mm-hmm. And so I wouldn't say inspiration. It was nice she was the first female I've ever kind of let my guard down with, who I felt like was real, and, wasn't fake or wasn't just doing it for fame. She legit knew what the hell she was doing, and I could have a conversation with her and be saying something and not have to explain it, which there's nothing wrong with me explaining it. I love explaining things and teaching stuff. But it was weird. It was different. Like I've never experienced that before. I grew up around men. I was raised by men. I worked with men. And so having this girl just as hyper as I am that, can handle her own, it was nice. Like I said, it felt like I found a sister, and just a buddy. And like we said, we never really talked about work or bikes. We just joked around and acted like stupid girls. I'm assuming how they act. I don't know.
I'd like, what's your tag on the top of your Instagram that your dad raised you to be
my dad raised me to be a gentleman. Yes.
So I want to know. I know you probably talk about this a lot, but I want to know about your dad.
I could talk to about my dad for days. I'm obsessed with my dad. He's my best friend. He's a single dad that raised 2 kids. I was 3 when he finally kicked my mom out of the house. He owned a aircraft maintenance shop in Addison, Texas. And he maintained all of the private jets and private, like the global ones, the ones people from all over the world would come to his shop when they were in US to get work done because he was so well known with his quality of work.
Right.
And he was only in his 30s. So he was in his 30s with 2 kids, running this multi-million-dollar maintenance shop that, and then at night all of his money would go back into the shop. So it's not like he had millions of dollars. I made that sound kind of gangster, but no, he would work his ass off, and that's where he would bring me, and I would just hang out at the hangar, and I would wear these little white sneakers, and my dad used to tell the mechanics that if my sneakers are dirty at the bottom, that they didn't clean the floor good enough. So I think they hated me. And then I would always play with like, the little magnets, like all this grinding shavings that the magnets accumulate. I would just play with that stuff. Now there's actually like toys like that. And I would see the mechanics, take out tools and put them back in the box. And so anytime I would see tools out, I would pick them up and I would go put them in toolboxes. But I obviously didn't make the connection that they would go specific ones. So they had to color code all of their personal stuff so they knew who had what.
That's cool though.
Yeah, that was funny. And that's where he duct taped me to the tank of his old BMW, and we would run up and down the runway, and that was my introduction to motorcycles. But he always had hot rods too, so I've always been a car girl. I was actually a car girl before a bike person. Mm-hmm. And cars were always just kind of a hobby, and bikes were my profession. And now it's kind of flip-flopped, which is nice. I'm not dealing with the changes in the industry, of the motorcycle industry right now. So I'm dealing with the car stuff, and I don't really know anybody. Nobody knows me in the car stuff. So like, there's no weird shit that goes on. You know what I'm talking about. Drama.
There's drama everywhere. You
I know. I try to avoid it.
Yeah, the best you can. Yeah. So, when you were building all these other bikes, so it must be so cool for a dad, because I'm a single dad with little kids, but to build something with your daughter, and as you grow up, especially if you guys had a bike, like that's going to be like in a magazine, like you have an Iron and Air, like when publications pick your stuff up. I mean, it's better than have any other car to partner. It's you and your dad. Oh God, yeah.
Like I have every single magazine that him and I've been published in, and it's I live to make my dad proud. And so whenever we complete something and we see something published, or he hears stuff like this, like podcasts, which he never wants to be part of, unfortunately.
We invited him. I
know.
Right?
He doesn't even want to be part of the Haas Fund. So anyway, he looks at me, he pats me on the head, and he goes, "I'm so proud of you, pumpkin," and he'll like squish my cheeks. And that is what I live for. I don't do this for any reason. I don't do it to make it a statement. None of that crap. I do it just to connect with my dad and to play with toys.
Right.
They go fast.
No, that's great. So do you have a favorite bike that you've built with your dad together that means everything?
The one that has the most emotion is the first custom that we did for a charity. 2013 or 2014. 2012 and 2013, my dad was fighting cancer. The doctors gave him 4 months to live.
What?
And he didn't tell me about it. I just saw him changing. I mean, I know everything about him. I know what he's feeling, like without having to say anything. So when I see his body just deteriorating like that, and I see that his energy isn't what I'm used to, it was really scary. And he had a tumor the size of a lemon grow in his lymph nodes in his throat within a week. And that was the one that almost killed him. And thankfully, there's a surgeon that got him in right away and removed it. But his oncologist, I don't know what they're called, the radiation people, almost killed him. So we have a huge opinion or strong opinion on certain types of treatments and how the medical industry treats people, and kind of they definitely they herd you like cattle. They're like, oh, you have this type of cancer, this is how bad it is, this is per protocol, this is how much we're going to pump inside your body. And instead of regulating it and paying attention to what his symptoms are and what he's feeling, they just keep pumping him the full amount instead of toning it back or anything like that. And like something crazy, like 90 something % of people who die from cancer, they don't actually die from cancer, they die from the treatments. So the last week, he's supposed to have 5 weeks of radiation, and the last week, the 5th one, he went in and ended up going to the emergency room, and he stopped taking it. If he went in the next day like he was supposed to, and they kept calling him to tell him to come back, saying, you got to finish, it would have killed him. And he said it. I mean, he said that there were days he was actually really upset and pissed off that he woke up, that he was still alive. And when he told me that, I didn't know what to do. So I started noticing him going into the garage and putting like one bolt on his bike that he was building. Like whatever strength he could pull out, he would go to the garage and do whatever he could, and then go back and lay down. And so we built a cafe together, a Honda CB 550, and really enjoyed it and liked it and got a lot of attention with it. So we decided I asked him if he wanted to build another one of those. But this time, just do it at our own pace, get your mind off of what your body's going through, just focus on something else. And he was like, okay, yeah, let's do it. And that's how he always is like, you throw an idea, he's like, okay, let's go. So of course he was down to do it, and started doing our homework and research. And I was like, how about we sell raffle tickets, and all the money will go to a charity for cancer, something, whatever you want. And he goes, well, I want to do St. Jude's. So the first year, that's what happened. It took us a year to build it, and holy shit, we learned a lot about fabricating. And because we did some gnarly shit out to that bike that now you look at it and it's like, oh, okay, it kind of looks like everything else, but it's not. It was so difficult. And we did it back when like it really wasn't that big of a hype yet, so the word went out like crazy. We sold a ton of tickets. We were able to raise over $16,000. And that's after we were actually able to pay for the parts. We didn't pay for labor or anything. We just, I mean, it was expensive. Shit's not cheap. Like the tank was all custom, the seat, the frame was heavily modified. We restored the engine, the front end, and it turned out beautiful. I love the way it rides. But a guy in New York won it. And then he sold it to a guy, a lawyer in downtown Dallas, and now it sits in his office in Dallas. So I get to go visit it whenever I want.
And Dallas is kind of a special place for you then to have bikes
I know.
looked at.
I
That's
used to
really
hate Dallas. Now it's kind of
that's really cool. So, okay, so through the treatment and everything, how's dad now?
Well, I mean, that was this many years
Right,
ago.
yeah, maybe seven-ish or something like that. Yes.
Yeah, he has his good days and his bad days. We he's just he's my mess. He's my first love, he's my best friend, and he's my mess. But he's still working in the garage every time I go over and visit him or see him after work, a few times a week. I'm helping him with something. Like right now he's restoring a International Scout. We started on an old Bronco. We're also working on my 1974 Volkswagen bus. We have a 66 Thunderbird that he built when I was a baby, and that thing's mine. And that we need to get back on the road. He also has a 36 Dodge. Oh, and last year he bought a 29 Ford that we're gonna chop and channel, and he got a custom frame, and we're gonna put a V12 in it.
Yeah. If you guys could see what I'm looking at, she is so happy like a little kid in a candy store right now. She's excited.
Yeah, we have so many toys and it's fun. But yeah, that's what's keeping him. That's what's keeping his soul alive and keeping him going. So the wheels towards healing. So it's how I like to look at it.
Wow. Yeah, and it's really cool that it shows how unselfish your father is too. That you take something negative and pour into all the positive that you have and give back to a great cause at the same time.
Yeah, he doesn't see it though.
He's a good man.
He's literally the best. He's an angel. When you meet him, everybody thinks that he hates you because he's just this old school, very dry, witty humor. He's from Greece.
Okay.
And so it's like he's this Greek dude who is a badass and literally has forgotten more than I could ever know. And you get to talking to him and he's just so humble. He knows everything. Like if you're at a car show and he's looking at something and you ask him a question, he'll give you a fucking life lesson on that. If you ask him.
Right.
But like he doesn't do small chit chat. He doesn't ask you about the weather. Like
Right.
If you need something, ask him. He will give you his shirt and his shoes if you ask for it and need it. People have sucked him dry because they've taken advantage of him, and I admire how he's like that, but I also have turned kind of selfish the last few years because I've seen what it's done to him. I've seen what it's done to me. And so it's kind of changed us, sadly, in a different way. But no, he's still amazing.
That's great. Okay, so when you're talking about this, because I'm a family, like totally about my kids and everything, I was a wedding DJ and still am for 25 years. I would have loved to see you walking down the aisle with your dad. I think that was probably the most emotional.
I have a picture. I have him walking me, and then and it's down a sidewalk. We got married in Tahoe outside.
Nice.
And then my cousin Raven, she was on my other arm because she's like my sister, and we grew up together. So I had both of them walk me.
That's so cool.
Cute. And it was really small. There was only 14 of us total.
Wow.
But
it sounds like every wedding in 2020. Maybe you started a trend that we're gonna see through the rest of the year here.
Hey, yeah, I'm not like a center of attention person. So having a big wedding, with a shit ton of people, like, and spending all this money for a few hours that nobody really cares about other than free drinks, like, No, we did it. We cheaped out, but it was still beautiful. And instead of spending 50 grand on a wedding day, I bought a Corvette.
Good girl. Good girl. I love it. I
Yeah.
love it.
So we can enjoy that for many days and
I think
years as opposed to one day.
I want a Disney movie like that where she has the small wedding and just rides out in a brand new Corvette. That's perfect.
I'd watch it.
I would too. You need to write it first. You write it. Your dad could be in it. Everything would be set.
Cute. I'm a Disney princess.
Yes, yes. Mine is
Dream.
right. Exactly. The Barbie Corvette and the Cinderella carriage. All right. So I'm not going to take a ton more of your time. First of all, I appreciate you being on here because I I really enjoyed tonight because it a total different dynamic of. It's why I love all of you guys. This whole culture and how everybody's so different, and it's great hearing stories about Jesse. It's great hearing stories about you and your dad, and just randomly like I don't know if everything if you had to take today as the end of your life, you've already had a ton of stories and successes and just love and support and everything. So it's cool to hear.
Yeah, definitely.
So with that being said, I want to know 3 people that you want to nominate for me to get on here that oh, look at you.
I knew this was coming. I've been thinking about this all day.
All right. Well, and it doesn't have to be 3. If you have a couple more, I'm fine with that too.
Well, like you already did 10 of them. So that's why I've been thinking about this. And it wasn't too hard because there's still a few people you haven't done that I know of yet.
Yeah.
So Jay Donovan would have been obviously one of them. You're freaking Aaron Boss. Oh, I have such a crush on him. And then obviously you did Max and Bobby, and you did everybody except for
drum roll, please.
Jay Shia. You have got to do her. You need. Go ahead.
She was one of our first ones.
She was. She doesn't come up.
Really? She's. I'll repost her thing tomorrow so you can find it. But that.
Yes.
Wait, let's go back, and I feel like I bursted your bubble, so let's go back. Jay, that would be awesome. You mean from Madhouse Motors? Let's do Jay.
Yeah.
We should just do her again. I think it would be great.
Oh, do a follow-up.
Yes. How about if I get you and Jay on there at the same time? That would be fun.
Stop it.
Well, we're going to give her a shout out and let's see where this crazy world leads us. How about that?
Fuck yeah. Okay.
That's fantastic.
Okay. You definitely need to do Crystal Hess.
Oh. Tell me a little bit more about Crystal. Because she's the one, she does the motorcycle.
You have to ask her questions. Okay. You have to find out. Okay. She's a surprise.
Can you give me some dirt, though, before I talk to her so we can surprise her?
She has resting bitch face, but she's...
Can I start with that?
She's the nicest, most beautiful, sweetest, giving human you will ever meet. And she will call your ass out if you do something stupid. And whenever she gets frustrated or angry, I just boop her on the nose and tell her how cute she is, and she finally stops being angry.
That's good. That's good.
But in all seriousness, I hope that Motorcycle Missions turns into something and we can get grants, because it would be my dream to work for her full time and like retire with her. And the way she organizes, their dedication, the way she thinks, she's going to tell you that she's not a builder or like she doesn't know that much stuff. She's not experienced, whatever. She's built some beautiful bikes and she's designed all of them really? That you've seen. So her design, her color palette, it's very, I can envision it and I can see it. And the way she kind of manages it and organizes everything is just, it's exactly how I think things should be done. So
The motorcycle
she has a lot of good shit going on with her.
So what is Crystal's Instagram? Is she just Crystal Hess, or is hers under her name?
Yeah. Yeah, it's Crystal Hess. She has a motorcycle missions Instagram as well.
I just saw that.
She works 100 hours a week. Like she's a fucking machine.
So she has a lot of free time then.
Yeah, totally. So knowing that, if she does something or you're able to get her, just know that she is making time for you.
Sure.
And I'm not you, just like in general.
No,
Like
no, no, I understand.
she anytime somebody asks her for something, like she makes time for them. And she always makes time for me. And it breaks her heart if she can't do something.
Okay.
Or if she doesn't have the time for something, it just eats at her. So that's why you kind of, once you start going through the rabbit hole of Crystal Hess on the internet, you'll just see how everywhere she's been the last year. She's been all over the place. So
sounds like she's enjoying her life too, so that's excellent.
yes. I'm trying to think of another builder. I had one, but I just got sidetracked on Crystal.
You're okay. And it really doesn't have to be a builder. Anybody around the motorcycle, anything. Even if you want to hear him, like you have somebody that you're like, yeah.
What about you? What if I interviewed you?
I'm really not that interesting.
Oh, shut up. We all say that about ourselves.
Mine might have to be on a mature audience station. If I actually, I don't think I could actually tell my.
How was the motorcycle stream?
I don't ride motorcycles.
Sure. You don't?
No, I've never ridden a motorcycle.
Oh, well then I guess that's going to be our first podcast interview is the day that Sofi Tsingos teaches you how to ride a motorcycle. And then we get to interview it and put it on podcast.
Right. We'll do it live too and watch me fall off.
You won't fall. I'm a good teacher.
Okay. So I'm getting my motorcycle lesson. We'll be following up with the motorcycle lesson.
Go get your license first, and then we will have a sesh.
No, if I do get my license, then it's like a commitment. It's like an engagement ring. You know, I can't.
Oh, no.
Well, that doesn't mean that much to me because I've been married 18 and a half times. So the last half was horrible, let me tell you.
All right. Well,
bad analogy.
Well, for one, it's not like that. It's like getting your gun license. You have to do some stuff, get your license, and if you want to buy a gun, you can, or if not, just you don't have to.
Yeah, I could wrap that analogy back to the marriage thing as well, but I'll leave that one alone.
Okay, that's way more expensive than what I'm talking about. So no. You're not going to win this argument.
No, that's good. All right, so we'll see. I'm still I don't know. We'll see.
It's gonna happen.
No. Not right now. I'm baby steps. I have young kids and I don't know that I'm ready. I'm a little
yeah. I understand. Well, I'm really good at teaching. We'll get you on like a dirt bike and we'll wrap you in like bubble wrap.
Yes. Okay.
I got you.
You know what? I think in my conversation with Jay, that we were going to have her son teach me.
I want to meet her son so bad.
I know. He looks like a cool dude.
Oh, he makes me laugh all the time on her stories. I tell her all the time, I was like, you are the best parent. We need to make a best parent of the year award for you.
Yes. No, that would be, yeah, she's awesome and just shows how much she loves him. And I think that's so cool. I know. Yes, I'd do anything for those guys. That whole team over there is awesome.
Yeah, I know. Hey, they're looking to hire.
Maybe I know.
You think she'll hire me?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Fire it up right now.
I already lived up north. I can't do it again.
I say I'll text her right now and say I have your it's either me or her, and I think that they're probably taking you over me because I'm just good at drinking, and that's all I'm good at. So
I'm not very good at that. I got shit faced off with 3 glasses of wine in 3 hours the other day.
Hey, you save money. So
cheap date.
That's right. It's one thing I haven't been called. Cheap, yes. But not a cheap date. All right, so you don't have anybody else for me. You've been thinking about it. So, Crystal, and I want you gotta have one more. Okay, but make this one somebody that you don't think that we could talk to. You gotta give me a challenge as somebody that I never could get on the show. Somebody
like Jay Leno.
sure, that's a perfect one.
I love Jay. I want to meet him one day.
Let's see if we can do that. I'm gonna put Jay Leno on our thing.
Okay.
We know people that know that know that know.
Well, get those people in touch with those people that will get in touch with those people.
Exactly. I'll have people contact your people and get them out. That's good. Oh, the other one that I really want to do too, that someday my moonshot is that I just think it'd be cool to talk to is Norman Remus.
Yeah. Ooh. Or Matrix guy. Keanu.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? Somebody said that he probably would do it as long as you didn't ask him about, anything else. So, yeah, he's a total motorcycle enthusiast too. So,
Yeah, he builds or designs or owns really cool looking bikes.
yeah, what's the name of the
An Arch.
yes, Arch. Yes.
What?
Raiders of the Lost Arch. So
Nerd.
I am a complete dork. All right, so I'm going to put those on there just for fun. We'll go after.
Okay. If I come up with anything else, then
Yes.
I'll text you.
I need a picture of that. Okay, so you need to send me a picture to represent the podcast, and I think it should be you with a mouthful of your Cool Whip there. You'll be set.
Oh, so many people can say so many gross things about that.
Oh yeah, I guess I wasn't going there. We'll leave it right where it's at.
I'll just go like this.
There you go. That'll be perfect. Well, thank you so much, Sophie. I appreciate your time and being on with us because I think it was a great talk.
Yeah, anytime. We don't have to have a podcast to hang out.
I'm here all the time. Like I said, I gotta be. Yeah, I don't have to be anywhere. So that's
right.
and we're gonna hang out. So thank you so much,
Yes.
and we'll be talking to you soon.
Hugs.